Japanese population is very highly educated with an impressive 99% literacy rate. And that's even more impressive when you realize what's involved to be considered literate. So they have 4 different writing systems. 2 of their alphabets are phonetic and comprise of 46 different characters. Of course, there's the Roman alphabet, which is the 26 letters that we have in English. And then the most complicated of these has at least, there's a minimum of 2,000 characters that have to be memorized in order to be considered literate. My purpose in sharing this information with you in this video today is just to introduce you to what you will see, because you'll see letters everywhere. There's signage all over the place, and you will see all of these different kinds of alphabets. And of course, the system that we will be interacting with the most is the Roman letters, which we use for English. But before we get into that, let's take a little look at the history of literacy in Japan. Japan's first writing system was adopted from the Chinese writing system. Chinese people arrived in Japan nearly 2 centuries ago, coming as a part of a diplomatic missions endeavor and to foster trade relations. And they brought with them, of course, their writing system, which is a collection of pictographs that represent whole words or concepts. The Japanese people saw that this was very useful in keeping records, and so they took it and made it their own. Note that this was a very complicated and sophisticated system, and at that time, it was believed that only men could learn to use it, and not even all men, only the elite scholars were literate. This system is called kanji, and it's still in use today. Eventually, the aristocratic scholars began to make changes to the Chinese characters so that they could represent the unique sounds of the Japanese language and to indicate grammatical functions. An alphabet was devised. And because of this simplification, people who weren't scholars soon became literate, and that included women. Hiragana is still used today, and it plays a major role in representing the grammatical structure of Japanese. It's also used to sound out the more complicated Chinese characters. And then, in the mid-1500s, Westerners arrived on Japanese shores. First the Portuguese, then people from the Netherlands, England, and Spain. And during that time, many foreign words were introduced into the Japanese lexicon. And it just didn't seem right to record those words with hiragana. And so another, even simpler alphabet was devised called katakana. Like hiragana, katakana is also an alphabet with characters that represent the 46 sounds in Japanese. However, katakana is never used for grammatical representation. It's only used for what we call loan words, words from other languages that become blended into the Japanese lexicon. The word bus is a good example of this. Bus comes from English, it's the English word, and it's always written in katakana. And then finally, the Roman alphabet made its way into the Japanese writing system. In the 1800s, Japan experienced what they call the Meiji Restoration. It was a nationwide effort to modernize and westernize Japanese culture. And it was during this time that the Roman alphabet became more popular, even trendy. And this is called Romaji. Romaji. Let's look at an example of how all 3 systems are used. You can see the more complicated characters, the kanji. Notice here to the side of the kanji letters, you can see the use of hiragana to assist the reader in knowing how to pronounce these particular kanji. And then here you see several hiragana characters which are serving to express the grammatical structures of this sentence. When we get to Japan, you'll see a lot of English letters and signage all over the country. Some of it will be used to write English, like the translation of things, and others will be used to write Japanese words in the Romaji so that people like us can understand. Here we have a flyer from McDonald's promoting their samurai burger, the Samurai Mac. We have the word samurai and Mac written in katakana, the alphabet reserved for loan words or foreign words. Obviously, the word Mac is a loan from English, but what about the word samurai? Well, because in this case, the word samurai is paired with the loan word Mac, And the word samurai is used in terms of a foreign thing, McDonald's. And so the whole phrase becomes foreign, and therefore katakana is used. Here's an interesting thing to note. We have the kanji, the Chinese character which represents a concept for the word regular. And then under that, in katakana, the alphabet used for foreign words says regular. That's the English pronunciation for the word regular. And so that's why it's written in katakana. But why? Well, we're still keeping with the foreignness of McDonald's. So even though McDonald's is as popular in Japan as it is everywhere else in the world, keep in mind, it isn't truly Japanese. And so it's fitting to enhance on the Americanization of this restaurant by using the English word's pronunciation, regular, in promoting it. Keeping with this theme, here are two more English words written in katakana. The first here is double, pronounced daburu, and the second, beef, pronounced, well, beef. And there you have an overview of the Japanese writing system.